Hello everybody, it's good to have you in my space. My name is Patrick. Others, well, my full name is Patrick Niyama Masofe, and plants are my passion, plants are my life. I'm a landscape professional, as well as a floral decorator. I've been doing this for way over 37 years, I think. And I live plants, I breathe plants, I love plants, I grow plants. So it's great to have you right here. We'll have a little bit of a master class, just a little bit of master class while I walk you through the garden. There are so many plants that do well here in Ghana, in Africa. A lot of these plants that do well here are not originally from here. Most of them are from the South Americas and from the Cape region and other places. But they've acclimatized. We have our own indigenous plants too, yes. And I'll show you a few of them. I'll show you one that will shock you because a lot of people think it comes from outside. It came from the Orient, but it didn't come from the Orient. It's a West African plant. But let me stop boring you with words and let's get into the garden. Come on. I've settled here because I have a lot of little plants here that it's sort of my little nest place. I propagate some of the things and put them out here. I have different type of plants. They have different names. I don't know whether I should even bore you with the names, but suffice it to know that all these plants that you're seeing here, they look different. Some of them flower, some of them do not flower. These flower, as you can see. Some of them, the beauty of it is just in the foliage. I mean, you can just look at this one. It has a very violety sheen to it. It's green with a violety sheen to it. And that is the beauty of it. So it's not so much in it flowering, but in the beauty of the leaves. And that is why we choose particular plants over others, because they have something that makes them peculiar. You look at this plant here, this philodendron, and its lime green color is striking. It's not like the other greens that you see. So it contrasts beautifully against the other plants here. Here we see the shrimp plant. Just look at the way the flowers are. Very, it looks like shrimps. In fact, that's why it's called the shrimp plant. And all these plants, in fact, most of these plants are not West African in origin. Most of them come from the South Americas, where you have a wide plethora of plants, but they do so well here. They grow like weeds here. And you can grow a lot of these within your spaces. This plant, for instance, is called the Yopon holly. It makes a beautiful hedge, and you can shape it nicely. This plant here, which is in the Monstera family, otherwise known as the monkey mask monstera, is also beautiful because the beauty is in the leaves, the form and the shape of the leaves. It looks like the Swiss cheese plant. There's a bigger variety of it, and the novelty of it is just the holes in the leaves, because the cheese in Switzerland always has holes in it, so that's where it gets the name from. The philodendrons basically, and this is another philodendron, the philodendron scandens. It makes a wonderful indoor plant. The philodendrons basically are low light plants, so loads of them do well in shady places. I showed you one earlier, this lime green philodendron. Even this one here, which is called the goosefoot, is a syngonium. It's a kind of philodendron. They all are vining plants that have aerial roots. So they climb up into trees and other places, and reaching for the light. They find themselves climbing along the trunks of trees, into the branches of the trees, up into the sky, because they are always looking for light. Out in the South Americas, like I said, they have the world's largest forests are in the South Americas. And that is where you find a lot of them coming up. There are loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of plants here. We can look this way, if you like. We have other plants there that do well, and you see a lot of them in many gardens here. The cordylines or the Thai plants. And I have a mass of them here. I have different varieties of them. The cordylines, or otherwise known as the Thai plants, and the dracaenas are first cousins. The dracaenas generally have broader leaves. This is a dracaena, and sometimes you can't even tell the difference. You can't even tell the difference. But this one, the cordylines, we know them because we see them a lot, particularly this burgundy type. I've just massed them all together here, and you can see they are all doing so well. They grow like the sugarcane plant. So you can multiply them just by taking cuttings, just like, you know, when you cut a take a sugarcane cutting. Let me just demonstrate one to you. Where can I get one that is? Okay, so this is a dracaena. And you can see this is the cane. It has a cane. And you can simply make cuttings of them, just like you do for sugarcane. Like this, both the hard parts like this, you stick them in the soil. Just make sure it's moist, and make sure it's porous soil, not hard soil. And just stick them there, water them, not in the sun, somewhere where it's shady. Within 2 weeks or so, they will sprout. They are very easy. You can even sprout them in water. If you have a bottle of water and you remove the lower leaves like this and set it in the bottle of water, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, give it maximum. You find out they will start shooting roots, and then you can plant them out. They are very easy to care for. And the beauty of them is in the different shapes and colors of the leaves. Their beauty is in the leaves. I love a lot of foliage plants because I find that they are there all the time. I mean, they don't flowering plants sometimes have flowers, sometimes they don't have flowers, so they are not beautiful all the time. But foliage plants remain constant. So I do lots of foliage plants within my garden space. The flowering plants just give spots of color. And as we move around, you'd see what I'm talking about. So all these are cordylines and dracaenas. And it makes a beautiful picture, as you can see. Under the tree, there are orchids. These are phalaenopsis. I have some vandas here. Those are not, some cattleyas, sorry. They are not really in flower. I have other cattleyas somewhere that are not in flower. Then I even have an ivy here. Ivies are not Ghanaian. They are more temperate plants, but they do well here too. They are a bit finicky. You have to pay a little bit more attention to them, but they do so well. As for these ones that have been given a bad name, the Dieffenbachia, these are the damp canes. People I've seen so many things on the internet that have demonized them. They are one of the hardiest plants and most beautiful plants that you have. The only challenge with them, and it's not really a challenge, is that the sap has crystals in them, calcium oxalate crystals, that can pierce your tongue if you put it in your mouth, which is why it's called the damp cane, and your tongue can get swollen. So you mustn't ingest any part of it. But it's rare to find people putting it in their mouth. Anyway, I haven't seen anybody do that. But I've seen people put on the internet that it's a bad plant and it's poisonous, so clear it. It is not. You just have to know how to handle it. Make sure that the sap doesn't touch your skin, otherwise you can get irritated by it. This here is a croton. Again, and I put these two plants side by side because these two plants, people generally don't give them good vibes. People think crotons are common and they call them cemetery flowers. This is a very beautiful plant. It is not the regular croton, as you can see, but the leaves, if you come closer, you would see that the leaves we have 3 different leaves. We have this, and then we have that. They look, or maybe it's 2 actually, this and that, but they are all growing on the same plant. And it's so beautiful, very hardy. All the plants here are really hardy. They don't need so much care. When we go out here, we have the hibiscuses. I've got a little grove of hibiscuses here. We all remember hibiscuses from our primary school days because we're using them in our biology classes and all that. The flowers are just so vibrant. I mean, hibiscuses remind everybody of the tropics because they have bold colors and different shapes. These are the single petal hibiscuses. And anybody can grow a hibiscus in their garden. We have the double petals. I think I have a double petal peeking at the back. Let me cut it. So this is a double petal hibiscus. Very beautiful, this sort of hot pink. And then I have another interesting one here, which is called the cotton rose. It is also in the hibiscus family. It's a Malvaceae. But the beautiful thing about it is that it opens in the morning. When it opens, it's white, pristine white. By noon, it begins to get a pink hue. By evening, it gets this hot pink color, and then it shrivels and falls off. So it has 3 colors within a day. Within 24 hours, you get 3 colors coming on the same flower. It's beautiful. You should have it. It's a cotton rose. Hibiscuses are easy to take care of, to grow. They are not that finicky. The only issue with the hibiscuses are the mealybugs. They have these, the mealybugs, I spray my plants every now and then, so I don't have them on it. But you sometimes see there are these white, cottony plant insects that come usually at the tips of the plants, at the apices of the plants. And they suck. They are sucking insects. So what they do is that they transmit viral infections into the plants. So plants that are infested with either mealybugs or the other insects are aphids, you find that they get this viral infection where the leaves get killed. The new leaves that come are not nice and open like they get deformed and crinkled. Fortunately, I don't have any of those on mine because I don't have those insects on my plants. But that is the one thing you have to look out for if you are planting hibiscuses. But they do very well. Palms, I have different palms here. The cane palm. This is a young cane palm in the pot. And I'm talking about, remember, I'm talking about plants that do very well here, that are easy, that everybody can grow. Cane palms just give you, again, just like the hibiscuses, they give you a tropical feel. If you have a water feature in your house, you have a pool, you have a little water feature, one of the things to evoke the tropics, the feeling of the tropics, are palms. Just put a few potted palms around it, and immediately anybody comes in and they feel like, ooh, this is very tropical and very nice. Palms are easy. And palms, the beautiful thing about palms again is that they are easy and they transplant very easily. So you can have a full-size palm and move it and transplant it somewhere else because they have a fibrous root system. Unlike most of the other plants, other trees that have a taproot system, they have a fibrous root system. So you can get the whole root ball en masse like that and move it to a new location, and it takes off fresh. So everybody should have a palm, and there are loads of palms. I'll show you a couple of them as we walk through. What do I have here? I have a spot there where I have a mass of ferns, but this is a fern. The ferns basically are shade lovers and moisture lovers. This is what they call the rabbit foot fern. It's one of many types of ferns, but it likes it shady, it likes it moist, and they like a very, let me see, you can see the soil. What I have here is full of organic matter. It grows because it grows on the forest floors where there are a lot of leaves that have dropped and are in a state of decomposition and are decomposed. So this kind of very loose planting material is what it likes. So ferns generally like that. And under here we have some anthuriums. Anthuriums, I have some peace lilies. These make wonderful indoor plants, and they are also quite easy. As we move around, you notice that all these plants are placed strategically. This area is half shady. The light that is coming here is dappled light. It's filtered light. It just tells you that the plants here do not like direct sunlight like the hibiscuses. The hibiscuses need sun. Most flowering plants, most, not all, because these are also flowering, most flowering plants require a good amount of light. So the peace lilies, the anthuriums, that's one out there in flower. There are a couple of them here. The philodendron, this is also another philodendron. All these like it half-half. They don't like it on the full sun. Ixores. These are the old Ixores we remember from our childhood. And I love them because they always have something. They always have some color on them. And it is not a Ghanaian plant in terms of its origin, like I said earlier on, but it has naturalized. So many people think this particular type of Ixora is Ghanaian. Well, let's just say we've adopted it and made it a Ghanaian. So it's very hardy, and it always has flowers. And these flowers do well in floral arrangements. Up above out here is this oleander, the oleander, and they come in different colors. One of the hardiest plants that you can find, does well on the seaside, does well along the medians where there's a lot of car exhaust fumes and all that. It's literally indestructible. It doesn't take much care. It can survive where it doesn't have much water and all that. And it always has some flowers on it. So this is a must-have. Remember that like the sap is also poisonous. It doesn't go into the mouth. So oleander, I highly recommend. Behind me are some cane palms. And then we have the ruellia. This one also is very easy, and it can actually become a weed because it just drops seeds all over and just sprouts everywhere. But it's cheerful. We have it in the pink, we have it in the white, which is what is here, and then we have it in the violet, which is the more common one. I want to talk about what we have here. I was saying earlier on that if life gives you lemons, make lemonade. If life gives you lemons, make lemonade. We moved into this house and we had this huge tree, this terminalia tree, that is renowned for its destructive roots. The roots just go everywhere. And you need to prune. If you have a terminalia in your house and it's this close to the building, you have to pay attention to cutting the roots because the roots just go everywhere and they can worry the foundation of the house. So my grass took quite a lot of time before it established. But I decided that, well, if I'm not going to, it gives beautiful shade though. So let me use it as a feature. So what I have decided to do, and as you can see, is to use it to hang all my hanging plants. So it's a home for various hanging plants. I have various things I've hung out here. The shrink plant I spoke about earlier on is here in a basket. And so what I've done here is one of the things to do when you are doing gardening is to plant vertically. That is one way to buy space. If you plant on the horizontal, before you can say, Jack, you've used up all the space, but you can use a lot of vertical space. So we have different things here. We have ferns, we have crossandres, we have shrimp plants. You can come round. We have the Hibiscus here. more here. I even have thyme here, which is a herb. I even have thyme in the basket here. And all kinds of things here. So all over the tree, I have caricia, different things. So just think outside the box. Be creative. Don't always do it the way everybody does it. This is the way it's done, this is the way it's done, that's the way it's done. Think outside the box and use your space to the best advantage that you can get out of it. Another thing to do is to layer your plants. That gives you the feeling of a room. So there's tall, medium, short when you are planting. So look at the natural heights of your plants, where they are final heights. Maybe some of them grow 10 feet tall. Let them be in the background, and then those that don't get that tall, bring them up in front of them, and those that are way lower, you put them in front. It makes your garden feel, the space feel very natural. So these are a few of the tips that I just want to share with you. You'll have to do a lot of misting, and that's the last thing I'm going to do to show you. I don't think a lot of people do that, but the plants love that, because just like human beings, when it's hot, they heat up. And when you mist them, it cools them down, it washes the dust off the leaves and helps them breathe better. So let me pull the water hose, and then we'll end on that note. These are just a few tips. This is not watering. This is a different thing. With watering, you are actually giving water to the plants and making sure that you hydrate them. This one is different. This one, you are just cooling the plants down. It washes the leaves. It dislodges any insects that might be on the plants. If you regularly do this, you would see that there will be a change in the way your plants would respond. Where the plants come from, I said a lot of these plants come from the South Americas. The place is very moist. They are in the deep forest. So when you do this, it's like you are simulating that kind of environment for them. And they just blossom and they just grow like crazy, because that is where the kind of microclimate that they thrive in. So I do this every now and then. And the beautiful thing about it is that it cools me down in the process. When I come back from town and I'm stressed out and I've been sitting in traffic and all that, the first place, immediately I drop out of the car, I just go to the water hose. For the next 15 or 20 or sometimes even 30 minutes, I'm just walking around misting the plants in the garden. By the time I finish, I am so distressed. So it's a wonderful distressor. It's not only the plants that benefit. We the human beings also benefit. And it is getting hotter. If you can realize, we are now in November actually, so the weather is heating up. So if you regularly do this, you would see some positive results.